Welcome to my class. I, Archana Kumari, Assistant Professor, Marwari College, Ranchi. Today I am going to take class of Semester 6, CC 13, and the topic is the Theatre of the Absurd. The Theatre of the Absurd come as a reaction to the World War II. It took some of the basic themes of existential philosophy and some dramatic techniques to represent the meaninglessness of life. They were in the belief that life has no such meaning. In one word, they summarized life as an absurd. Life itself has no meaning. How hard we try to give meaning to it, it has no meaning as such. And they represented this meaninglessness through their drama as well. When we talk about the term, the theatre of the absurd, it was first coined by Hungarian critic Martin Esslin in his essay, The Theatre of the Absurd. And there were some group of the playwrights who were writing then. He actually he gave them this title that they are the absurdist playwright. And of course absurd is not the right term to define it, because there is a deep philosophy within it, that is existential philosophy. And of course philosopher Albert Camus, the French philosopher Albert Camus, his essay The Myth of Sisyphus, where he actually discussed that life is meaningless, life it has no such meaning, and that they represented in drama as well. So of course what happened after World War II, we know that Europe was completely devastated, and people were generally in sense of depression, anxiety. There were meaninglessness in their life, existential crisis in their life, and they were looking for certain meaning. What is the meaning of life? Why do we live? Why we born here? And of course answer to all these questions were unanswerable, because recently they had faced some very tragic moments in their life. They lost their loved ones. So this all you can say anxiety came upon stage as well. Of course these playwrights who were branded as the absurdist playwrights were not happy with this title, and they many times they were called as anti-theatre or new theatre. These particular terms were also used for the absurdist theatre, but now presently this term is very popular. So let's discuss some of the characteristics of the theatre of the absurd. When we talk about the characteristics of the theatre of the absurd, we find that of course when we talk about the character, of course characters are not very and general people. They had a sense of anxiety or the sense of meaninglessness there present there in their personality. We find them they're looking for certain meanings of life in a very in a very mundane dialogues. They are not very smooth with their communication. Their communication is very difficult. This is one of the characteristics of theatre of the absurd, that communication is not very smooth. Characters are repeating the same dialogue over and over again. The cliches are being used, and when we talk about the plot is also not very very tightly constructed, and maybe it was deliberately done, because they wanted to represent life, and life itself not very constructed in a very smooth manner. So they deliberately plot were also constructed like that only. Means of course you would find no proper beginning, no proper ending. The many times play begins at the same place, ends at the same place. There is no certainty in their expression, and you would find they're waiting for someone, and that person is not coming. They're waiting for the third person, not coming. They're talking, sometimes their talk appears very nonsense to us. What they're talking, we won't understand. But of course, these all techniques were used to represent that meaninglessness of life, that life itself has no meaning as such. So these are some of the characteristics of the theater of the absurd. So now when we talk about the playwrights, of course, Samuel Beckett is the flag bearer of this genre. His Waiting for Godot got immense popularity then, and of course now as well. It talks about some of the very deeper philosophy about life. When we, of course, on surface level, when we watch Waiting for Godot, we find, of course, what is happening. Two characters are talking and waiting for some character, and that never comes, and play ends there. So maybe there are lots of philosophical explanation to it. So Samuel Beckett is one. Eugene Ionesco is the second one, who is very well known absurdist playwright. Then of course Harold Pinter, he's also a very popular name in this genre. So whenever we try to understand this genre, one thing you should keep in your mind, that they're talking about deepest philosophy of life, that is existential philosophy. That of course many times we all go through the situation when we feel like asking, okay, what is the meaning of our life? But of course we all try to find meaning in our lives, and many times we don't get the answer, and that is a very frustrating thing. So that frustration being portrayed on stage as well. So of course you could not expect something very normal, like traditional theatre. It would have certain, some situations, some dialogues. The characters would not be very traditional characters. The dialogues would not be same. There would be many time in many scenes you would find that they're talking all nonsense. So they actually deliberately want us to show that life is this meaninglessness. What we talk, what we say, these all things have no meaning as such, because they were in the view that we born and then we die one day, and what do we achieve out of this? Do we achieve anything? So these are some deep embedded questions are there in the theater of the absurd. You have to approach to this drama like this only. Then only you will be able to come to the terms with this kind of drama. So I hope you all got it. So this is for today. This is all for today.